foggy. And I have to do this and like reset the focus. How's it going, folks? I hope you're doing well, because I'm doing well. I've had a really good day, and I hope you guys all are having a great day too. Let me put my hair back all fancy again. Oh, and let me grab the book that I wanted to tell you guys that I've read a good chunk of, which is an excellent book that I want to tell you about. Ta-da! I'm back. I'm back. Back in the New York groove. And apparently, this book is wet. Wet. Like loving an elevator, living it up when I'm going down. So this book here, the Inland Fish of Washington, which is backwards, probably to y'all, I would assume. Great book. I started reading it. I'll do a review video on it just in case anybody's real curious. This is Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, fish, Vancouver, BC, and it's got all the interesting studies, 300 pages for 90 fish species. We don't have that many fish species in Washington, which is kind of interesting. And, you know, it had me thinking, and I wanted to kind of talk about what we think is beautiful. And I wanted to kind of feed off of what you guys think is beautiful because and I want to see if it'll let me do these polls where we can actually interact and I can ask a question and we can get a response in the chat from y'all. So we're gonna try that out too, and just wanted to do another little shout out that got this from a viewer. I find that very awesome, and I'm putting my drink on it. They were out of Dr. Pepper, which I don't want to talk about. Please, if you could respect my privacy in these hard times, I would appreciate that. But they only had Mr. Pibb. So that's what we're drinking tonight. But how's everybody doing? Angie McGee, what's going on? For sure. Benjamin. Regina, hello. Barb. Craig, what's up? Shanna. Other Craig, what's up? Kay Halliday. Angling and Aquatics, what is up? And Michelle, hello. Rochelle, hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining. So if anybody's had trouble joining in the past, I know we get that question a lot from, I don't know if it's iPhones or Android phones or what it is, but there's some group of y'all who don't ever see the join button. So I put a link in the chat and I just pinned it. So if you want to join the channel, it's $1.99. It's real helpful and it really supports what I do here. And most every week, I've missed 2 weeks total of the fishery, and that's out of 105 episodes we have now. And that's an audio dominant format. There's usually no visual aspect that you need to watch, and set up just me talking, but talking about whatever's new in fish news, fish history, fish science, and the hobby, any events that are interesting, that kind of thing. And you get all of that. You get 4 episodes of those free, early, no matter what, because if you watch the Aquatic Morning Show, you get them totally free. And if you want to pay $1.99 a month, you get access to all of them at once, and you don't have to watch the whole morning show for 2 hours and see when my segment comes on. I don't think anyone does that, but in theory, if you wanted to watch the episodes, that's what you'd have to scroll through the Aquatic Morning Show on Main's Tail Fin and Fur's channel, on Jess's channel. So this is a way that I try to thank members by always searching for the most interesting stories about fish and our hobby at large. So yeah, And this book undoubtedly is going to spur some more interesting videos. It's got really interesting facts, like how many fish they put in every year since 1880 in Lake Washington, and which fish the state put in, and when it from all the way back when it wasn't the state, when it was private people doing it, but they made it public. They put it in the newspaper that so and so was sponsoring a fishing derby, so he put X amount of bass in. It's got some real interesting deep dives into each fish. It's got the records for sturgeon caught in the lake, which don't really even exist in the lake at large anymore. There's still a few in there. But they can't come and go like they used to because of the damming of the rivers and stuff. Anyways, it's a great book. I'll be talking about it more in its own video. Probably for most of y'all who don't watch streams, that's who it's for, really. But for everyone here, tonight we're going to answer questions, and I've got a couple questions for you. If you have a question, just put the @ symbol and my name, or either @ The Secret History Living in Your Aquarium, or @ Alex even helps. It doesn't highlight it, but just the @ and my name I can catch somewhat easier. But yeah, first class fish. I should do a blind Dr. Pepper, Mr. Pibb comparison. I can easily do that. I've done that. My wife's been like, close your eyes, and then like giving me Pepsi or giving me Mr. Dynamite or whatever the knockoffs are. You can't fool me, man. I know what I like. Discordia Creates, what's up? Skydancer, what's up? Good to see you guys. Let's see. Oinkmaster Forever Supreme Forever, what's up? Good to see you. Chris George, hello. Delilah's Critters, hello. SC, hello. Amateur Aquatic Addiction, I love that name. Hello. Let's see here. I'm trying to. Howdy. All right, let's see here. Cool new show on PBS about water plants. The Green Planet, Episode 2, Water World's David Attenborough. Hosts beautiful filming, giant lily pads, and the pink river, especially remarkable. Anyone seen it? No, but I am going to watch it tonight wherever I can find it. That's awesome. I am feeling pretty good. My my autoimmune flare, I think, is over. All the mosquito bites that I got that turned into like these gnarly, like almost like sun blisters when you get like a bad sunburn, they're going down. This was like 6 mosquito bites, and it just swelled so much that it split. And I have a couple other little spots that are just like pock marks from it. My body just hates anything foreign in it. But that's a discussion for another time. So yeah, Rochelle, thank you. I'm glad the link came in handy for the membership thing. A lot of times people's cards boot them too. I forget constantly. I'm like, oh no, I'm not a member anymore of someone's channel. Most people don't have a $1.99 membership, but it's important to me that I have it as accessible as possible for those who can. But I don't ever want to pressure people who can't afford it. I totally get it. And you don't never need to apologize if you can do it for a month and not another month or whatever. I'm honored by all of it. Peter Lee, what's going on? How do you feel about bettas with honey gouramis or a sparkling gourami in a 20 long? Sparkling gouramis are no problem whatsoever. They stay lower than your betta usually, and they're much quicker than a betta splendens would be. And you know, the gouramis, they do share the top water, but they're very peaceful. If you have an angry betta, it can be a problem. So you kind of have to know the temperament of your betta. But generally, if you've got some floating plants and some plants that make it up high, up into the water and kind of divide the sight lines, not going to be an issue whatsoever. You can keep both of them, no problem. Oinkmaster Forever Supreme using the member chat. Do you have any tips for good aquarium bamboo growth? You know, good light above the aquarium. I know that sounds like a duh, but that's really what's hard. So like when I am keeping things that are growing immersed, which actually I guess I wanted to show you guys this anyways. So this plant had been going too much towards this tank for too long, so I've been leaving the light off on this tank for a few days, and now I've got this flower on this Anubias cophifolia to completely open up, and it's even the flower has turned towards this tank because as you guys remember if you've watched as I've built this tank, when I replaced the old light, this newer light is 6,200 lumens. It's super strong. It's the strongest twin star they make. Um, and I think I might be finally out of CO2. That would mean that after living here for a year and a half, that my 20-pound tank is finally running out. That's interesting. Hey, what's wrong with? Oh, yeah, that's one eye. Never mind. Uh, I call her Lisa Left Eye, even though she's one eye. That poor little female black black phantom tetra has one eye. I don't know when it happened, but somehow she lost an eye, and now she's always tilted to one side, and I feel so bad for her. But anyways, yeah, if you're trying to encourage bamboo, I mean, it's just a weed. It's a pest. It'll grow. And so if you have a light that you can prop up above the tank, if you can get it up even higher, like here, that would help the most. But other than that, you just need to make sure that you actually have nitrates in the water. Bamboo and actually a lot of plants. The thing is, like in this tank here, the water is making algae, and I can tell as long as there's just a little bit of algae and it's not going crazy. That's what I want. I want it right on the verge of having enough nutrients to create algae in my water, but I don't want it to basically cook over and start spreading across the whole top or growing all over the front. So that's kind of, for me, that's my little tip, that right under the light at the surface, so all this stuff that's floating, having a little bit of algae, that lets me know that that light is really strong, and it's going to lead to extremely strong colors like the purple going on this plant. And do we have, oh, I thought I had a spear coming up from it, a new flower, because I can't wait for a new flower, because now I know how to handle the how to help self-pollinate it. Obviously, I did that right the first few times. The thing I didn't do right was how to handle the seeds once pollinated, how to sprout them, or how to even just collect them and then make them dormant. Because this time around, next time it sprouts, if it sprouts, I hope it sprouts. Um, I want to make the seeds available to members of the channel again. And I know that there's still some of y'all who wanted to buy shrimp or dojo loaches and fish and stuff. Holly, I haven't forgot about you. Obviously, we had a talk, and it's just like 100 degrees, 105 every day. So I'm not shipping her fish, her dojo loaches from a giveaway, or I guess an auction, not a giveaway, but like a charity auction type thing that they were doing specifically. I guess it's not even a charity either, because the auction goes to me. Like it, I don't know. It was an organized event by Skipper and Danikin and all the good guys that are always raising money and doing things for the Fish Fam. They just asked, do you want to do a couple options? I think it was maybe just because people who donated things for past auctions, they wanted to have an auction of their own stuff. Now, I wanted to also, now that it's grown out pretty well, this is this weird moss that I bought. Hold on, I know you can't see it right now. I'm trying to get it straight because it's all tangled. But here is the moss that I'm going to show you. And this stuff, when I got it, it was called orangutan fur. So I just wanted to share this with you guys. It grows, it doesn't grow very pretty, honestly. Like, as it's growing here, you just see, like, a strand of it. The Christmas tree moss is really pretty and it grows thick. This orangutan stuff just grows out in a straight line, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing out. And then off of it, ideally, especially in lower light, it hangs down and it looks like the arm of an orangutan, if you know how long their arms are. And it's from the same island of Borneo that they're on. Well, they're on several, but that's where the most of them now reside, the critically endangered ones. But the orangutan moss, I still haven't heard any Latin name for it or anything, but it amuses me, and I wanted to share it with you guys because somebody had asked about it, because I mentioned it on a past episode. But in any case, yeah, so I would put a light above the tank and make sure there's nitrites and nitrates in the water. Obviously, you don't want to measure the nitrites. You want them to be turning into nitrates, and so your ammonia and your nitrates, you want them to be converting. If you really want to keep your water low on the nitrates, what you can do is have aqua soil that has more of like an ADA or a contra soil or aqua soil base, and put like a little Tupperware container of it, up back tucked in here or something, towards the back or in a corner. Put the bamboo in that, and then it'll have more nutrients and minerals, rather than having to feed from the whole water column. But bamboo does need a fair bit of water column feeding. If the water has too little of anything in it, it doesn't get any sort of food whatsoever, and it doesn't do it any good. It basically starves. So the other thing I was going to show you guys, is that in here, we've got my Malawa shrimp in this container. Look, there's a pregnant female. She's got a whole bunch of eggs. And then I put my opal shelled, but pink bodied ram's horn snails in here with them. But there are a good number of shrimp in here to eat the algae. And this jar, I'm happy to say, I'm going to have to trim because literally the mayaca has gotten so long. Let's hold it up and see how long it has gotten. It's planted in the bottom, and it is a good foot above the water line now. And I'm not even unraveling it. It may be well beyond that. And also, the bacopa is growing above the water line in some cases now. So I kind of need to trace some of these back down, trim them so they get a little bit thicker again. And then we've got the meteor minnows in here that are doing their thing. They're just like white clouds, but they're the Vietnamese ones. And they're doing well. Oh, look at this. We've got right here, side by side, we've got one pregnant female, two pregnant female. Do we have any more? And they're hanging out right in the front, which is interesting. But yeah, so we've got two pregnant female Malawas, which is good. In this little thing that doesn't have any fish in it or anything, I did put one baby shrimp in here and a snail in here, and now we've got a few snails. But what I was curious about this was mostly trying to grow the papyrus. And the papyrus now has 4 shoots and a 5th one coming up. And the roots have actually taken down into the sand. You can actually see them going down into the sand now. And actually, I can see, I don't know if you guys can, there's a line that runs through the sand down this way where that root is connected, which is great. It happened very quickly. But I want to be able to get cuttings of this because it's such a great plant to share with other aquarists, in that it just comes out of the tank, and then using atmospheric, all the atmospheric oxygen and CO2, it's able then to process far more minerals out of the water column where its roots are still feeding from that, and the soil, and their roots are also in the moss, which I was trying. So they're also just hanging loose kind of in the moss. sucking up whatever nutrients come their way in the water, which isn't much because it's just snails basically in here in one shrimp. But in this water, here goes another pregnant Malawa, and these are just the wild phenotype of the Malawas. But you know, I cooked 330 of them because of that heater failing on me, and so it's really good to see that we've got pregnant ones in this jar, and that this jar, no water changes still since it was set up now several months, and the fish look happy, and they're doing their thing. The plants are just overgrown, if anything. Oh, we got a crazy spider up here, one of those long orb spidery things. And look at this, the creeping Jenny is just coming out of the jar looking really cool, in my opinion. I just think it looks nice, coming out like that and up over the edge. So if you've never tried creeping Jenny, it's a fun one. It'll suck up the nutrients just from the water column, and you know, also this Bacopa is growing bonkers. Look at this Bacopa. So this Bacopa, it goes down all the way back there. So it's grown wild, and so has my Crip lutea. It's also very happy and healthy. So I'll have to do an update on that one probably in another month or something like that. But I want to put one more jar over here, maybe another one like big size, 5-gallon size. Okay, I've been ignoring the chat. Let me get back to the chat and you lovely, wonderful, awesome, epic people. Let's get back to you. I always get sidetracked. Sing it in a song. Dip, 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 dip. Alex, I have to confess, you were one of my favorites, Delilah's, and I need to commit to your videos and streams more often. Thanks for being you. Well, thank you so kindly. I appreciate it. Thank you for being you, for coming by. Morwenna, my platies, oh, you're saying dirty words, are very intent on meeting up with one another. They're in the mood. The guppies just tear each other apart even if they have a good ratio of males to females. They make me so sad because they're so pretty. Yeah, that can be hard. Break up the lines of sight when you have males pestering females like that. That's definitely all you can really do is break up the line of sight. Sometimes it's counterintuitive, but if you've already tried adding more females to the ratio and that's still not helping, sometimes add more males and then they'll fight each other over the females. But that doesn't always work. That's kind of a last resort. Ray Cooper says, what kinds of fish can I add to my 75-gallon tank? I'm getting swordtails and platy next month. What are other choices for high pH? I mean, you could get anything from the Rift Lakes easily. You could get Synodontis catfish or any of the Lake Tanganyika or the Rift Lakes, so not Victoria, but the other Rift Lakes, that isn't one, but the Rift Lakes, and any of those Central African cichlids and Central American cichlids that live in the limestoney water you could get. There's also a fair number of fish you can get from kind of Thailand and India, anything from Urdu Pradesh. There's a lot of limestone at the base of the Himalayas there. So there's some loaches and catfish and barbs and carp and things like that, as well as trying to think what else. There's a half-beak, that anything that comes from Lake Sulawesi is hard water and alkaline pH, so you could use any of those, even the little cardinal shrimp you could have in there. Florida flagfish, plecos clearly don't care like normal bristlenose and stuff like that. They can adapt. So yeah. ABC, what's up? I hope you're doing well. Paul McCarthy, what's going on? Good to see you too. And Martin W, good to see you. Good tank mix for Dojo loaches. I'd like to put them in a 55-gallon planted aquarium. Do you have any recommendations for keeping them in general? Yeah, they like room to go up and down like Corys do. If you've ever seen the Corridoras do the thing where they're going up and down the glass because they're excited or, there's food or whatever. So in a 55-gallon, you got a lot of room this way, and it's fairly deep. It's not that wide, but it's fairly deep. And they like to burrow in the mud or sand a lot. If you can get it'd be a mess, but what they really like to live in is like a silty or really fine sand and clay kind of a thing, with roots and stones in there. So it would be kind of interesting to do a silt bottom tank, like with sand from like Astoria's beach or something. It has really fine sand. I've used the beach from Astoria, Oregon several times. Right by the mouth of the Columbia there, that gets like pulverized into this really fine powder of a sand. And you can cap off your soils and things in a tank like that with like less than an inch of it, because that's such a fine grit sand. It's such fine granules. So I love, and it also has sparkles in it, which is nice. But with the dojos, I mean, they are pretty peaceful. They're kind of dumb, like derpy, slamming into things and running into things kind of fish. They get excited and kind of like, I don't know, they're kind of like, when a dog gets excited and it's like, arr, 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 and jumping up on you and doesn't even care that like you open the car door and smacks into it or anything, or a screen door or whatever. They're kind of like that. They like to dog pile together, so it's nice to have like a little rock pile, with some plants kind of behind that, so they feel safe, like they feel a little protected, or a cave, and they'll go in there, several of them, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 100. But I've seen them in the shallows of the lakes that they live in near me too, and they will come into the shallows at night where it's warmer, and then they'll cuddle puddle. They'll make a big pile of each other, and when you shine the light on them, they just scatter because it startles them. But they like that shallow water, surprisingly. So I mean, with other fish that get along great with them, I'd have something that can hold its own a little bit, just because they're so get out of my way, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So maybe not like teeny tiny fish would go well, and they are going to eat other fish's eggs. But I would say that they go well with, and so maybe you only want a few bottom loving fish, but anything you want in the middle and the very top, I think in a 55. You could go with angels, you could go with a couple discus, you could go with it's like Odessa barbs or tiger barbs or spanner T barbs, filament barbs, so beautiful. Congo tetras, any of those bigger tetras would look killer with them and do really well with them too. Um, let's see here. Ray Cooper, is it true about guppies? I'm changing my mind on getting 50 of them. Whoa, is this true? Wait, what true? What did I miss? Do 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 do. Wah, 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 wah. Okay, I must have missed what it is. Okay, I'm gonna scroll down. I'm gonna say thank you, Jess, for the super chat. You rock. Ryan Stoned on Canadian Gaming. Thank you so very much for your Canadian money, which someday soon will probably rise to a greater power than America. With the inflation rates, actually everyone's going through inflation. I think every country but Japan and Palau, last I looked, are experiencing inflation. So I'm not really pulling one over by getting an exchange rate, but I like to think that I am. But I really do appreciate that. Thank you. Lauren Howard, hello. Will the creeping Jenny work as a foreground plant? I have it all over my fish pond. Thought it would be pretty. Yes, definitely. If you have high light, it'll stay down. It'll have enough light that it'll stay down and kind of carpet or crawl like a vine. If you have low to medium light, it'll go towards the light and it'll crawl out or do whatever. But if you can get pieces grown immersed, all you need to do is, even if you have a shoot this long, just set it on the edge of the tank so that the stem butt or the root butt is on the edge, and have enough fish poop and nitrates in the water that it's not completely clean, you know. You want to have it in probably one of your more active tanks, or one of your tanks that you're adding fertilizers to for plants. So you just want to have a water column with something in it, some for them to eat. And then the fact that they're not underwater, it's like them having CO2. So if you want them to trail outside and hang off the edge of your tank like these ones here, all you have to do is set them there and give them good water. Kenny E, what's up? Corundulan Works, what's up? Good to see you. 5 gallons of sand per day you can steal from Oregon beaches. Because if everybody did it, we'd have no beaches. I'm skeptical. Maybe. Who else is out there? Alex, do you have any experience with giant ram's horns and rabbit snails? I'm planning to order 20 mystery snails, and I'm trying to decide between the other two which one, unless I try 2 of each type. Giant ram's horn snails, rabbit snails, and mystery snails. So personally, I don't like mystery snails as much as I like the other ones, in the sense that mystery snails or apple snails, either way, they will eat plants. They'll eat tender plants. They'll eat aquascaping plants like it's a contest. But they'll eat just about any plant if they're bored or hungry, or if it's got new shoots that just look really yummy. I don't know what does it. And so for that reason, it kind of annoys me. For the other reason that they climb up and out and then lay the egg things that are everywhere, that kind of annoys me sometimes. But it's also annoying that ram's horn snails explode into 1,000 little babies if you have your nitrates go up and your organic solids and waste going up. You know, you just overfeed a few days and they get the message, oh, we got a green light to have as many babies as we want. So that can be annoying too. Now the giant ones do that a little bit less, and the other thing is that the rabbit snails don't really do that at all. They're kind of a nice happy medium. They do get to a good size though. They can be like, you know, chunky. So I would lean on, personally, I would maybe cut back on the apple snails, because the other thing is apples or mystery snails, because the mystery snails, having 20 of them in a tank is pretty darn close to having like 20 plecos in a tank. Like, they produce more waste than a lot of fish. And somebody was doing a study on their channel. I can't remember who it was, like way back when, and they were measuring if I think it was convict cichlids versus mystery snails, and they noticed that full-grown convict cichlids and full-grown mystery snails produced, the mystery snails produce more of nitrates than them. Let's see here. Creeping Jenny is the same as moneywort. So there are a couple names for moneywort, pennywort, and it is similar, but technically speaking, moneywort is a separate hydrocaudal that exists as well. Like, depends on who you ask. So Creeping Jenny, and then there's another plant called Creeping Charlie, but sometimes Creeping Jenny gets confused with that, so people call it Creeping Charlie. So it's hard. It's probably best to use the Latin name, honestly. But yeah, they all kind of do that same thing. They get the name for that. Oh, we're doing gift memberships? See, again, it doesn't tell me a damn thing when people do this, when y'all are so kind and generous and do this. So now I don't know who all got the memberships, which is super frustrating. But I guess Discordia, it looks like, got one. And I don't know who else got one, but I really appreciate whoever did that. It doesn't tell me anything because this program is awful. Um, yeah, Ray, guppies can be pretty aggressive. The males can be very aggressive. Now, I also did a video for members on Fishery about 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, where we talked about cannibalism and guppies. The rate can be about 50% in captivity of mother and father guppies eating the babies, whereas in the wild it's less than 0.03% at the highest. And it has to do with how many are packed in there and if they have enough food throughout the day. They are grazers and they want food all throughout the day. Even though they can survive a week without food or whatever, probably 2 weeks, they want little snacks all day. They want little insects and little crustaceans and stuff like that all day long. And so they've evolved to kind of feed all day long. So if you have like a guppy, if you want to call it a mosh pit, like Stephen P does, a guppy mosh pit, it's probably ideal to put a feeder on there that has a very small amount of like aquarium co-op fry food or something that just kind of dusts a little sprinkle of it, or crush up some Fluval bug bites or whatever it is, flakes crushed up, and just distributes enough that everybody can kind of get a snack, or 80% of them get a bite or two, and it will really calm down the level of predation of the young that are being born, and also on that hostility that also comes with that. Let's see here. I don't see nobody saying my name. Oh wait, here we go. Scuba Steve, who had some fun with the other night on the cards against the fish fam. Any tips for me? My friend's tank is going through bacterial bloom and all his Anubias are browning, melting, dying off. Is there a thing I could or should do? Yeah, so let me show you. So I have a video called How to Make Your Anubias Grow Faster, and I think grow more faster. And so when you have Anubias, what happens is when it's transforming, when it can't decide if it's going to be aquatic or submerged, this can happen. Even though this leaf's been underwater the entire time, it popped up, but it's been dying because it was so close. Same with this leaf here. See some of these leaves in here of these Fraseri, these skinny Anubias leaves. They're all the way like melted because they are so close to the top with bright light that they think that they're about to come out of the water. So they transform to their out of the water leaves, which are these tough leathery leaves. And when they do that, they create different oils and stuff, and they're not ready to live underwater and they end up melting. So that's one reason. Now the main reason, if we can find a piece of Anubia that I can pull out and show an example of here. Now the other reason is organic solids building up in the tank. And so if we look at a little piece of Anubias, here we go. I can probably break this off, and there might even be the same thing happening with it. So when we've got Anubia, oh, that's Boos. Back you go, Boos. Where's my Anubius? I don't want to like break off a huge chunk or anything, but I do need to get illustrative. Okay, I found a chunk that I'm just gonna rip out for you so we can examine. Even though it's been in this moss and growing for a while, I can probably tuck it back in. But see here, see how this piece is brown under here? Does that look familiar? Basically, once you start seeing any sort of blackbeard algae growing on it, like there is on this, or any of that, you're gonna lose the plant unless you've got unless you can spot treat it. But let me show you something. I'm just gonna pull this whole thing out and hold the tripod a little differently here. So when you've got your Anubias, anytime you push back on the leaves, when you're pushing back on the leaves, if you push back and pushing against the grain, not insanely hard, but just hard enough, if they break off, then the plant has gotten too weak for one reason or another. It may be nutrients, it may be not enough light. But what happens is the rhizome wants to grow up and out. See how these leaves are all growing up tall and they're reaching for the light? Well, these leaves down here end up getting all mushy. And if you don't take that mush away and every once in a while trim it, like see this dead stuff here was the last leaf. If you don't kind of get rid of that dead material, and you can use an X-Acto knife or your fingernails or whatever, but you just want to carefully remove the stuff that is literally falling away and then get it out of the water altogether, because if you don't pull it out of the water, it's part of the problem. This is part of your solid organics in the water. This will raise your well, I mean, it'll raise acidity eventually, but it will also just be a lot of mangled junk in the water floating around, and you need flow around your Anubias. So increasing the flow, cleaning up the plant on the nodes that are getting mushy, and letting them get oxygen. And then the other thing you can kind of do is you can kind of trick them by some of the roots will be and let me get this. This is not Anubias, so let me get it out of there. But some of the stems are trying to connect to an anchor, like a taproot, and others are trying to just get nutrients. And you can cut either of them; it's fine. They'll regrow quickly. But you can also look for like pinholes in leaves too. So like this one, it's starting to get the pinholes in it. Probably potassium is what it's lacking. Almost always the answer is potassium. So if I bend this leaf back, and now it's split just from bending it back, whereas this leaf should at least bend. You don't want to bend it completely back on itself, but if you can see that they're springy and spry when you're bending them back rather than snapping right away, then they'll probably be okay. What happened here is the Sawassertang and the moss choked it out, and then these roots tried to keep growing through that Sawassertang and moss and couldn't get the nutrients they needed. And so what they started trying to do is pull in the mushy, dead carbon compounds that were floating in the water. These just organic compounds started sucking up the mushy stuff, and it just adds to the moss growing on there in the dark. And so now I've got to actually be, I really do need to take care of this whole, I mean, this whole mound is covered in Anubias. And so it helps to clear everything away from it. And when you can see that there are areas that are growing in these nodes, like here's one, this is all one rhizome together here of Anubias petite nan. But you can see a lot of the ones that were going for nutrients are brown and dead. Get rid of those. They're just adding dissolve problems to your tank. And if they're really hard to get rid of, like that one was, they'll have, even underneath this brown slime, they'll have that white, and that means that they were just one of the tap roots or one of the anchor roots that is used to hold on to rocks and so forth. The whiter they are, the more they're usually the tether ones. And sometimes if you look at them, they're kind of flat. Now, yellow can be another problem. See how this yellow is going on there? It's usually a bad sign. And see, sure enough, we've got a brown break in it. So it was losing its nutrients. So we're just literally going to go back to the stalk, bend it back, and it just literally pops right off. Whereas the other ones, they're pretty sturdy. But if you do come to a mushy spot like this in the main piece, depending on how big your pieces are. Like I need to like do this with 2 hands and clean all this up. But I've got, I mean, I've got little nodes that want to grow up and out on their own. So really what I should do is break this off. And a lot of times nature will tell you. You can literally just shake it and all of a sudden it breaks off into its own node. And then now you've got this node that's clean and you don't have all that root that was rotting back on the end. You might have a piece or two that need to be kind of worked on, but really just feel with like your fingernail. If it feels crunchy and hard, like a celery or something, then just leave it be. If it feels mushy like cooked carrots, then take a cut out of it. And then these anchor lines just get ridiculously long. You can cut those to your liking. But now we've got that weak point kind of exposed. And now what we could do is we can take our fingernail or an X-Acto knife or tweezers, whatever, and pull away all this debris and make sure that the whole integrity of this thing is still good. Get the moss off there and see how much open space there is. Now you can see it's almost like a palm tree. There's like little sections, like Lego palm tree sections that were growing, and they had no light. So with these sections here, if you're very careful, you can take a very fine blade, like a scalpel, which I buy my scalpels online. I got this one on Amazon for like $5, and it came with 10 hermetically sealed little baggies for each blade, so you can change them for each tank or each project or whatever. But all you need to do is you go in there, and where you had, I'm trying to think how to do this with one hand. I have a whole video on this, like I said, but you just go in there, and where you see a really solid, like in between these nodes and the mushy stuff, you can cut away the mushy stuff. You don't even need to cut, you just literally flick it away. But then where it's real solid, you can just cut a slight sliver. And when you do that, then what you'll see is that when it's exposed to light, that little sliver that I just cut that's trying to stand up, let's see here. See this sliver by my fingernail? It's right at the tip of my fingernail. It's in and out of focus. Come on, that sliver right there. That will grow now into its own little node. So I still need to clean up more of this, and I'll do it on my own now that I pulled that out of there. But again, just get rid of all the leaves and stuff, and that'll really help. That kind of stuff will really help. And then you can address nutrients, things like that later. But I get a little flow on there and get rid of all the dead weight. Also, a lot of times people have problems when they have floating plants or they have moss, wasser tang, anything with lots of fine needles, that they'll end up with this like layer of duff. And it's just too much. It's just too much organic. See here, I need to work on cleaning all this dead yellow leaf stuff out of there, because it's just breaking down and turning into really annoying debris that's just going to make things worse. All right, sorry I took a long time on that, but I felt it merited it because a lot of y'all keep Anubias. We all love Anubias. And the same actually goes for boosts and even for sword plants. Sword plants can get buried and start looking kind of rotted in the leaves, and you just peel those back like an onion until they stop falling away when you're pushing against the grain kind of thing, when you pull on the leaves. If it feels spry and like it's going to make a pop when it comes off, then don't push anymore. If you push and you don't think there's ever going to be a pop, it just feels like it's going to just like slop off, then keep going for it. Oinkmaster Supreme Forever, you don't ever apologize. Everyone comes and goes from the online circle. It's no big deal. I'm just glad you're here now. Morwena says, Alex, a friend told me you can let a cycled sponge filter dry out and it will still be cycled when you use it again. No. There may be some bacteria that has turned into what's called cysts, CYSTs, and there may be some other little, microorganisms that kind of go into hibernation or torpor, and torpor is just similar to hibernation, and squeeze out all their water, and then make like a hard shell and basically like vacuum seal themselves. And when they get wet again, they may be in that sponge and may come populate your tank. You may get little teeny life forms in the sponge, but your nitrogenous, your nitrosomers, your nitrobacter, and your nitrobacillus, those three bacteria, they're not going to survive without oxygen and being immersed in water. So yeah. Um, Now you can put them in a non-aerated, just put them in a bowl of water that's not chlorinated, and that alone will preserve enough to be alive. You may have some die-off since if it's not oxygenated enough, but that will preserve it enough to jumpstart a tank still. Benjamin, hello. Just got a 40-gallon breeder. I was thinking of putting it in a colder part of the house. Any suggestions for the cold tank? I was thinking of goldfish. Well, if you like goldfish, then that's fine. But goldfish actually produce a lot of ammonia. The slime coat they have is pretty harmful to a lot of other fish. I mean, if you're going to do that, you could get those high fin sharks that they call them, or you could get, plecos and things like that. But for me, it means like a lot of water changes for even a 40-gallon with goldfish, unless you're going to keep smaller body types and you want to breed them. So unless you're going all goldfish, because they're going to eat all your plants, or they're going to try to, you can keep plants with goldfish, but it is challenging. It does take work. If you do want plants and you do want goldfish, I would put duckweed in so that they at least try to eat the duckweed. But likely they'll eat whatever it is. You're like, don't eat that, please, and that'll be the first thing they want to eat because that's just the law of Murphy. So yeah, I mean, I would say you could do goldfish, but I would much rather, if I had a choice, I would say, Dojo loaches are entertaining. They're cool. They're fun. Again, they do produce quite a bit of waste. But they're really bulletproof in that sense. Temperature wise, ammonia wise, even. They can withstand a lot. Now, the other things that I would recommend are meteor minnows, paradise fish, or paradise gouramis, as they're sometimes called. Um, Barbs, like rosy barbs, or gold barbs, or melon barbs. You can do all sorts of things from CPDs, erythromicrons, and you could keep big schools of them. Then there's also things like cherry barbs. There are a number of loaches that can withstand cooler temperatures from Southeast Asia. And the other thing that you could think about doing is a native tank of like darters and shiners and stuff like that from North America. There's a lot of options. I have a couple videos on cold water tanks. They give you lists of ideas. Let's see here. This may be a dumb question to ask, but can male fancy guppies impregnate a female endler? Yes, as long as they're not the ribbon guppies. Those ones, their gonopodium's actually part of that ribbon look, and it's useless, and you either need to spawn them in the few weeks when they're of age, but that thing hasn't grown, or you need to cut it and then or artificially inseminate. And that's why I don't keep them. I feel like it's mean. Um, let's see here. Okay, I'm gonna skip down towards the bottom because I want to be on track with y'all again. Uh, let's see. Corrodulin works. Have you ever kept fathead minnows? I have. I kept a few out in my pond one year, and I liked them. They were fun. They definitely wanted live food. They wouldn't eat any of my prepared, even frozen food. They wanted like Daphnia, and I guess they did eat some shrimp. like cut up little pieces of little teeny shrimp. But yeah, they're a little difficult to feed and stuff, but other than that, they're really fun. And I've heard some people say fathead minnows work out okay. Um, I would want to do a biotope tank of minnows and darters and shiners and daces if I was gonna do it again. Um, Elosomas, the little pygmy sunfish, the Gulf Coast pygmy sunfish or whatever, or the least killifish. Those are great choices for fish that do okay. Actually, native and cold and together and whatnot. And you can get a lot of them in those communities. So if you did like flagfish, a blue or a banded killifish, a marsh guppy, or oh, what are they called? They're basically a guppy. Um, Posilia. Okay, it's not coming to me, but there's a few guppy variants that are like kind of like mosquito fish that are around that are fun to keep, and you can keep them in community tanks. Pretty much anything that lives in Florida's waters works out pretty well. Um, Rainbow darters, obviously, or rainbow shiners, or rainbow darters, awesome. Red-sided shiners, mountain daces, like yellow belly mountain daces, red-sided or red cheek ones. There's lots of options with the natives. Buffet says, glad caught your stream. I'd love to see your reactions and critiques of viewer submitted tanks with your particular knowledge of fish. Start with mine. Hey, if you guys want, that's what I was going to say, what is beauty tonight? And we were going to talk about that a bit. But I, I kind of, part of what I wanted to talk about was like, do you guys like a sparse scape, like a aquascape where there's 3 stones and that's it, and a carpet? Or do you like a jungle scape? They're both beautiful. One's more chaotic, more is going on, and some people think that's beautiful. Others think it's the simplicity that implies complexity that is going on. Like you could have done that complex thing, but you had restraint, and that's where the beauty comes from. So I'd like to know more people's opinions on that, and just kind of feel out the different vibes on that. I mean, that was one example of a question. Hold on. And another one was going to be about the size of fish, or would you rather have a bunch of different fish or all one type of fish? Freshwater sculpin are super cool. Yeah, I can get you a million of them all day long. Gambusia was one that I was thinking of. Thank you, John. The other one is it's like a little red minnow. Is it a ruber? Is that what it is? Is it the Posilia ruber? But anyways, it's a little minnowy guppy that is all red naturally. It might start with a P. Puna or Pina? I don't know. I can't remember. Alex, can you talk about giant Sylvinia in the aquarium hobby and legalities in various states due to the fact that that is a terribly invasive, noxious weed? Yeah, so Sylvinia, you kind of have to check state by state. My state, it's okay. You can have it. It occurs in a lot of states now as they call it endemic, or now it is local. It's not native necessarily, but it becomes local or established. I was actually going to link to members, and I still can, on the community tab, which is where you all go if you're members for the $1.99 club. Or more, whatever. But that's all it takes. You get all the links to my research and sources, but you also get anything that I'm like, oh, this was a great documentary, or this is a good book, or here's a discount on this thing. All posted on the community tab for you guys only, and that's the upside. Now, it usually gets shared out eventually, But I just saw one on New York State and their invasive species and how they're trying to mitigate. And I thought, oh, cool, they're going to talk about, different animals and plants. And it was all about the pine beetles, the naughty, what's it called? Naughty something weevil, and a knotweed, and the hemlock, and Scotch broom, and it was stuff that I was like, well, this doesn't sound interesting. But when I started watching it, and they talk about mitigating it and what it's similar to, and what the care of maintenance of these little the way New York State's done it is they've split up every biome in the state into their own control group, which is really smart because as a state, when you monitor the whole state or county by county, like you may have a desert that runs through half of a county, or you may have a bunch of lakes in one half of a county, and then the other part might have not a single lake. So it's like those people then aren't specialized. Whereas if you say everybody with lakes focus on this, they have their mind on milfoil and on that kind of stuff rather than maybe the other people have to worry about something else. It doesn't split up the work and make people throw their hands up and think the work's too much. So it was just as much about how people can be organized as it was on the invasive critters, period. So I thought that was super cool. Seriously, where can I get rainbow shiners? Alabama, Tennessee. Aquatic Arts. Aquatic Arts has some really killer stuff. Now shipping is just, it's like super ridiculously high everywhere for overnight shipping now. So if you do order something, get a friend or order a few things. My code right now is still secret 10 or secret 15 for 15% off or 10% off. And that'll get you that, plus free shipping for dry goods, but do a separate order. That's the trick. Don't do an order. Use my code on the dry goods. You'll get the 10 or 15% off. Then you won't have to pay for shipping either. And then do another order for the fish or whatever else. Separate transactions, and that'll save you some money. Because they do have good, like, bee pollen and Bacter AE and Pleco caves and really good shrimp nets, the vinyl ones that are that hold water. Love those. But they are going through some transitions right now. I think they have a sale going on right now of 20 or 30% too. And they are going through some transitions, and Vivi.com is going to be taking over, and I'm going to be setting up over there and helping them kind of beta test as we're calling it. Sorry about the rustling. It'll be over soon, I promise. Alex has just got an insatiable urge. I've got an uncontrollable urge. I've got an uncontrollable urge. That's a real bad and annoying version of that song. She's just a girl. Here's a girl. A girl. I needed the Colby Jack cheese. I needed the Colby Jack cheese is what I was saying. So yeah, you can tell I'm getting antsy. I'm wandering around. Jay Oliver, good to see you too, man. Thanks for the support for 9 months. Rock on. Discordia creates. Washington State has 6 sculpin species, 5 in my area. All 5 are under 8 inches, and usually some get to like a foot in rare, perfect conditions and big bodies of water. But in the little lakes around me, most of them get to about 4 to 6 inches max, with more being on the 4 side. And 2 of the species only get 2.5 to 5 or 2.5 to 4 inches total. And one of them has these big old wings. So yeah, there are different options. Alex, would would blue-eyed yellow for tail and green Kubota rasboras get along with killifish? Blue eyes, blue-eyed yellow, green Kubota rasboras. Are you talking about Pseudomagil blue eyes getting along with Kubotas? Because they will. And killifish is a broad term. So I don't know which one it would be. Zen Ginger, what's up? Dan's Fish has rainbow shiners in stock. Oh, good to know. Yeah. So there's another spot. Also, I think the wet spot tropical fish probably has some. I would assume who else has some? Jonah's Pets or Jonah's Aquarium. They have some. Usually, you kind of need to buy a group, but that's it. What's up, Skipper? How's it going, buddy? Atomic Ink Injection. What's up? Vibes Aquatics. Glass Box Hero. Got stars in my butt. Mangrove tree growing in the center of a lowboy tank, and the fish were swimming in and out of the roots just like natural mangrove. Right on. This week, it's funny you mention it, I talk about mangroves in Fishery. One of the episodes is talking about how mangrove swamps and forests trap the second largest amount of carbon of any ecosystems in the entire world. So rainforests, temperate forests, alpine desert, alpine forest, tundra, savanna, like all those names that there are for biotopes or ecosystem types. The mangrove swamp or mangrove forest holds the second most, just behind the actual old growth rainforest with a peat bog. Sorry, that's gross. Cheese just came out of my mouth onto my lip. Cheese. Say cheese. But yeah, so it is incredible how needed the mangroves are, and we could use more understanding of mangroves for sure. I would love to see more people keeping the estuary mangrove brackish water kind of thing set up. Very cool. Stephanie D, what's going on? Hey Alex, I have a problem. My cherry shrimp are dying one by one. They are discolored and have bluish dark spots on their body. So they're cherry shrimp, they're getting dark spots. That could be copper poisoning. That would be a bummer. My guess, though, is if they're getting paler, it may just look like dark spots. If they're really good pigmented cherry shrimp, they actually have blue pigment as well. And that's why blue shrimp come from the cherry line. Otherwise, you have to go all the way down to black or Bloody Marys in the Shoko line, which is the naturally brown and black line, to get morphs off the Bloody Mary line that are the darkest blue, the navy blue shrimp. But all the bright blue shrimp, they come from the cherry shrimp or the rusty colored line of natural shrimp. And then they bred those to be better and better and better. And then they realized that instead of being translucently red, they could make them actually like an opaque red if they let the blue genes express underneath that. So sometimes you'll have those shrimp, and when they die, you'll actually see blue, like almost like an iridescent, like the color of ink from a ballpoint pen when it explodes or breaks, when you get it all over, and it has that kind of like gasoline shimmer kind of hint of color to it. You'll see that phenomena. So what I'm guessing, though, is that your TDS, your acidity is either too high or too low. So I would need to know readings, Stephanie. If you want to comment on this video after we're done live, I can help you out later too. But I would say that you're either having too much acidity, and that's like going to be a pH of like 6 or something, which is a little less likely, and not enough TDS or total dissolved solids, GH and KH, and they're not building their shells right, so they're kind of flaking and falling apart when it's time to build a new one, and they're not able to quick enough, or they have more than enough, and they actually are building what are called plaques, and it's when they're the cells that they're building as a shield, as their suit of armor, have so much calcium in them that the calcium starts bonding to other things, and like more carbon and other things, and it forms these sheets, kind of like toenails, or kind of like it's just extra chitin basically forming thick layers on there, and it can also cause problems when they molt. So probably has something to do if you can check your KH, GH, TDS, and pH and temperature. I mean, then I could probably knock it out and figure out what was going on for you real quick. But yeah. Alex, you're talking with your mouth full. Show us the tank. Yeah, I'm sorry. I did that. That was me. Alex, what are you doing with the tank? And had the broken heater. I went around Facebook fish groups and posted what happened and warned people about using that model. Well, I appreciate that. And I got, no joke, 20 or 30 stories now of that happening to people with that exact model, as well as a few other similar models, including the one with the clear dial. Some people were like, oh, the clear dial one works fine, so just use that. I have stories of the same thing happening with it. Now that tank is it's back up. I'm just trying to slowly recoup what's going on. See, some of the plants are going to melt and so forth. I don't know how many snails are going to be alive. Some of the snails are alive, some are dead. So I'm watching the ammonia every day, and I'm hoping these snails are going to eat all the plants and stuff that got cooked or zapped. And then the guppies seem to be doing just fine. Now, these are my outdoor pond guppies, and they've even had babies in here. So I think they're doing okay. I think they're doing fine. They're the only ones in here right now. But they're looking good. So that's what's going on with that tank. The tank next door, I'm also working with guppies. Doing another little color project. So yeah, that is the state of things. I got those guppies from up here, from my bell-bottom guppy colony. Where is the bell-bottom guppy? He was front and center the other day. He's probably just being shy, but there was one who's kind of my, oh, here he is, who's my main sire, with the checkerboard on the back of his tail and on the top of his dorsal fin that goes way out like a streamer on a ship. Look at that. And then he's got iridescent color, and then it looks like he's wearing bell bottoms. So that's hence the name of this line, the bell bottom Endler / guppies. They're hybrid. But yeah, he's probably a little past his prime, but he seems to still be showing off for the ladies. So they're being crossed back with these more wild type Endlers, just to make them more hardy. And because I've noticed that those wild type Endlers, none of their genes are dominant against any of the genes that I've wanted in these guys, with the bell bottom look, as I call it. But they do have more of the yellows and the dots and the neon colors, and I don't mind more of those going down. Also, this tank, which had all the cyanobacteria at one point, because I had let the light stay on too strong when I was out of town for like 3 or 4 days, you can see the little bits of cyanobacteria or algae, green-blue algae, that were left here. I treated it all with 2 rounds of antibiotics, and it's pretty much all gone. What's in here is dead. It's not alive in here. But what I need to do is, like, this plant grows so quickly, like these lilies, that I need to get this out of here, because this is building up and making problems. The organic debris, like I've said about the Anubias and so forth, it builds up, it spikes, then we get more snails, then the snails poop and eat more stuff, and then all of a sudden you've got a runaway carbon. Whoa, what's this little... Is that a little female betta? What is this? I literally don't know what fish this is here. Is that a maculosa? Is that my maculosa? Alyssa, are you watching? Earth to Alyssa. What is this guy? Is this a betta? Is this I'm so confused. I don't know where that fish came from. It's definitely not one of the Beckford pencilfish. Weird. We had one that was unaccounted for, but that would be very tiny if that was it. Okay, alright, I'll have to talk to Alyssa Bentley about that all on our own. Huh. Another project that I'm wanting to do, though, is Aquatic Arts has all new gobies and interesting little fish right now. Stiphodon, they've got some really cool blue and red ones and stuff. I really want them. They're kind of really expensive, but I really want them. This female is all fat and ready to have babies again, and the males are all bright blue and yellow, and they're just so much fun to watch. I know that this colony is probably coming up on its old age soon, unfortunately. Probably not going to live more than 2 or 3 years total, and they're pushing 2 years right now. But the females are all fat and sassy, full of eggs that you can even see the shadow of. And the males are doing their colorful little dances, like this little guy here. And I just love watching that. Also, my Luminatus, I need to re-up on the Luminatus. There's only like 4 in here. I think there's 3 females and a male, if I even see the male. And then there's the Radnocentris still in here, and the Threadfin still in here. So I might need to like pull them out and actually do some breeding. This tank, there's only a few fish left in here that I just haven't caught yet. And so hopefully I can put them outside finally. It's been like the longest summer wait that I've ever had. I've never had to wait this late in the year to put out fish in ponds. It's insane. I don't even see... Where is she? I was gonna say, I don't even see my little girl, my little gal. That's usually... Oh, geez, I dropped my... So we got the male. The Lucanusi. Oh, here she is. I just keep hoping when I find her hiding like that there's gonna be babies somewhere. And there never is. It's so frustrating. I've tried so many things with her. And I just can't get it right. And I just can't miss a thing. Also, these babies are getting pretty big. These must be little badasses, because they hold off all the big mama here with the big old like bass mouth. They also hold off the male, who's back there with the colors. I am a psychopath walking, acropath talking. Put my fist in colors. Colors. There they are, the cute little striped babies. I don't know how many there's going to be total babies. See, they keep popping out of nowhere. More little baby size fish. I think there's about 10 or 11 in here. I'd like to split the colony. Maybe this tank should be sacrificed. I don't know what I'm doing with this tank. It's got the shrimp in it, so that's the only reason I haven't sacrificed it. Really, this is just a shrimp and Corydoras tank. So, I don't know. And the light's already turned off for the night on this guy. And look at that duckweed. Oh, and we got some pretty blue flowers. Blue flowers, blue flowers, blue flowers, blue flowers. Do we have anybody making a nest? Not yet. Nobody's made. Oh, you don't look so good. What's up with you? What's up with you, little dude? Oh, you have no eye. Who ate your eye? Tell me now. So that is a Chopra Danio, and I am a bit concerned seeing one of them without an eye. I don't know how he hurt himself. They do zip around the tank. Everyone else looks real healthy. I don't see any rot or hole in the head or anything like that. It looks like an injury. I'm assuming maybe the cichlids said you were getting too close to our babies, is what I'm guessing. But man, he got his eye definitely like gone. And he does have some redness on that gill. Meanwhile, little lady, thick-lipped gourami, she's kind of a yellow pastel color, all ready for spawning, hopefully. Waiting for a nest from her mister. These are who probably messed up that Chopra, are my Nanochromis. Or these. The Lake Inlay red-tail loaches. They don't take kindly to people getting in their nest. But neither do these ones. Oh, look at that. That looks like an operculum out. Yeah. Yeah. That looks like an operculum out, doesn't it, everybody? Maybe we're going to have some babies. Some babies. So, okay. The ovipositor seems to be out on that one fish. Now, I wonder if the lights being out were part of that. We're helping that. Or if I'm stressing out that fish more by turning the lights back on. I'm going to turn them back off after I grab this fish out of here. Let's see if it's okay to swim or... Yeah, so it's still swimming with its other eye. It's fine. It's just blinded in that one eye. I'm going to need to watch for secondary infections. I might put it in a QT tank. But I don't see any secondary infections now. But look at these colors of the beautiful Nanochromis right here. Just lit up like fireworks with the lipstick and the eye color. And the ovipositor out on the female. I guess we'll turn the light back off and see if they do their thing. We're going to also sprinkle some food on the other end of the tank so that it just keeps the others distracted and away from the nest, if there are babies under one of those rocks or whatnot. So these are just Fluval bug bites. They'll see them in this dim light. But beyond that, then what we'll do is we'll give them the Aquarium Co-op. This is my favorite feeding food for the day, just to kind of distract most of the species. You get this little fine dust. Like here, let's squirt some out right here. You get a fine dust on the water, and even if the fish totally missed it, it wouldn't be a problem for the ecosystem bioload wise. Like, it's such a light amount, even though it looks like it's spreading all across the top. So that's a great way to feed it when you've got not many fish like these guys. It looks like I just put a ton in, but I didn't even put like 4 or 5 tropical granules in. I mean, it's like nothing. And it's oil. There's fat and oil in it, so it literally like parts the seas for you and spreads for you, which is great. So And I've found that a lot of the fish that don't want to eat stuff that's like the things like the lovable Gilbert eye or some of these shrimp, they all love it too. So very helpful feeding. And I buy this stuff not by the little jar like that. I actually buy it, I think it's 30 bucks now. It used to be 20, but it's ground up like salmon guts and salmon head and stuff like that. Fish parts. So fish heads, roly-poly fish heads, fish heads, eat them up, yum. I come from the land of the ice and snow, where the midnight sun and the hot winds blow. The hammer of the god will drive our ships to new lands. Oh, fight the horde, sing and try. Valhalla, I am coming to you. Only sleep with fishing arms, and don't go into the rest of it. So now you better stop and leave me all your ruins. The days, the wind, the night, the days it's despite of all your losing. Okay. So what's going on, Bunny Viper? The Pied Piper Bunny Viper. And we got Stephen P. 2003 Zombie Cat. Where you at? Oh, Zombie Cat. Thunder Aquatics, Chris. Oh well. Mick, what's up? Good morning. A wee top of the morning to ya. Aye, char. Do you have tank close by that could have jumped? Do I have a tank close by that could have jumped? No. Haven't even had that fish for months and months and months, at least that we knew of, for like several months. Diane Werzer, she came in with a $10 slammer of a super chat. Thank you so much. And she gave me a little Shiba Inu dog that's dancing with fans and wearing an adorable hat. And it means a lot to me. Thank you so much. I know super chats go down in the summer, and hot child in the city, and I appreciate it. Alex, do you buy Driftwood, or is all yours foraged? No, I do buy it. Iced tea. Somebody's still back at my iced tea reference. Iced tea, Jimmy P. You're the one. Don't mess with me. Let me show you something cool. Wood I found outside the pool. We went out to an island. Check out this one piece. I was violent. I wanted this wood. It was to be mine. I wanted this wood. It's beautiful pine. Actually there's spiders on this. God damn it. But this is one piece of spider wood. It's not two locked together. And I got this one. I bought this one from Jason, Redfish Bluefish. Went to his shop in person with Kenny E. Don't know where I'm going to put it yet. But it is beautiful. It's like perfect. The symmetry, and then it spirals into like a double helix. Not quite, but like it twists around. And oh man, I love the way this thing looks. From different angles, it's very cool. Yes, there's spiders on it because it's spider wood. And then I bought this whole bag for like, I don't know, $100 or something, or not quite 100. I think it was like $70 worth of wood. But yes, to answer your question, I do buy centerpiece wood. I try to forage it, but if I see a piece and I'm just like, yes, perfect, need it, now it's mine, I will buy it. I try not to spend money on anything if I can help it, because I'm cheap. Get cheap. Trying to show you guys something else that I got from Jason, and I'm going to end the episode on this note. Other than I got the Rio Esquaro F, which is Florin Vulcanite, or the Brightwell Aquatics jumbo bag of that's for shrimp. So hopefully, I want to set up some more shrimp tanks, specifically shrimp tanks for Caridina, because I had so much fun with the Caridina. Cheap, the kind of mother won't keep. I was born to be trash, cause I'm gonna be cheap. A child a mother could keep cheap. As sure as they're trash, I was born to be cheap. Anybody knows what that's from? You are a weird person. Will it hurt, Dr. Bond? James Bond? When did James Bond get his doctorate in my head? Just now? Oh, I don't want to kill you. I want you to suffer. Ha 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 ha. Mr. Brainiac thinking that frickin' scalpel is the best way to open this. So look at this. Good thing my wife's gone. Oh, it's the colorful flakes with the tasty taste. They've got the omegas and the color boost max. Plus they got the plus with the medical sign. I don't know what it means, but now they're all mine. And I got 12 in this giant pack. Now stay away or I'll kick your backside. But everyone knows that I like Tetracolor plus Tropical Flakes. Ding! So I got a lot of them. Kenny also got some. Alex, I was wondering why you paint your nails. I have anger issues. I was wondering why you don't shut the hell up about my personal choices. I'm sorry. That was way too serious. No, I just do it because I have, what's that called? No shame. No, I don't care. And my wife will pick up nail polish. Sometimes I'll pick up nail polish. And I'll think, that's pretty. And I will point at things. And I realize, ooh, I'm more animated when I point at things. And ooh, I pay attention when I point at things. And then I realize, from working in the tanks literally hours every day, my fingerprints are just wrecked. And my fingers are wrecked. And I always have dirt under my nails. And people were commenting months ago, years ago, and they were like, ugh, I hate, like, your nails look disgusting, bro. And so I just thought, oh, I'll polish it once in a while, put nail polish on once in a while. But I don't always. I mean, it's just a fleeting thing, a summer thing maybe. Usually it's when my wife is sitting there putting it on, I'm like, all right, give me that. Give me that, give me that, give me that, give me that, give me that thing, give me that, 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 give me that thing. I am feeling your oats tonight, huh? I like it when you make up songs. Well, you have a good evening, Diane, and I am gonna get out of here soon too. Alex, have you ever had Tetracolor tropical granules choke rainbows? Yes. I have a bottle I'm afraid to feed because I lost 3 after feeding for the first time. Yes, I've had Rhabdocentris, Luminatus pseudomagills, and I've had, and it's Rhabdocentris ornatus, and then I've also had thread fins, Werneri ichthyoria, or however you say their Latin name. Yeah, I've had all 3 of those die, unfortunately, from feeding them. Now, I want to know, why don't they do that in the wild? Or do they? Are they dying in the wild like that? Just one of those questions that bugs me. Stephanie D, I will say you have good taste in a nail color choice. Well, thank you. I try to keep it to weird ones, like bright, colors, or like this metallic. This was like called like gunmetal chrome or something like that. I don't know. Um, if your nails are pristine in some industries, you're doing it wrong. Don't be afraid to get a little dirt under your nails. I agree. Do what you got to do. How many fish tanks can you have in a how many fish can you have in a 55-gallon tank? If they're like rasboras, you could literally have 300 to 400, no problem, with lots of plants and good filtration. If it was a filterless tank, maybe you'd only want 100 of those. If it was big fish like Oscars, you might only want 2 or 3 if you had not the best filtration. If you have a giant sump that's 50 gallons also, you could probably have, you know, a foot-long catfish in there and 5 Oscars and it would be fine. So it's kind of hard. Yeah, I crush the granules when I feed any sort of granule or Fluval to those specific top minnows or very smallmouth fish. I'll just take the lid and set it on the counter, scoot a couple granules out into there, and then just, you know, kind of tap the lid on the cap. But yeah. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna get out of here for tonight, but my wife's gone all week. Also, I have a video on how I used to tattoo and some tattoos that I thought were kind of interesting, funny, quirky, whatever you want to call it, that are all fish or aquarium or aquascape related, shrimp related. And I have more for one, and some of them my friend sent me and was like, well, I got to have your reaction to these. So I didn't look at them. They're in a file like saying reaction, you know, wait to look at. And then I've got some that I pulled off that I was like, wow, these are just spectacularly beautiful or interesting or terrible. But if you guys have any tattoos yourself of fish or aquatic stuff, I'd love to see it. You know, I actually found a tattoo that someone had of hole in the head in their Oscar, and you can tell they got it as like a sentimental, like, my Oscar died and this is the last picture I had, and you can tell how it died because there's this freaking chunk out of the head. That's not a zombie fish or anything. It is. I'll have to go over it. There'll have to be a part 2 to that video. I just found some things, and when I started looking closely, I was like, wait a minute. You can tell that he has no living plants in there. He has like a castle and like clown gravel, so there's no layered substrate. And then the fish has hole in the head. And the tattoo caption on Instagram was like, this was the last night before I lost whatever his name was, Killer, my Oscar of 3 years. He just died on me. And you can see in the test. Anyways, okay. All right, I'll stop. But if you guys have any examples, I would love to know. And thank you so very much for you guys just joining me, for you guys being awesome, for my mods, for the super chatters, for those of you who re-upped your channel membership, for those of you who joined the channel membership. All of that, awesome. For those of you who just asked questions and hung out and bear with my insanity, all of it is great, and I thank you for it. It's almost 10 o'clock here. It's probably almost 1 on the other coast, and who knows what in Britain. It's Doctor Who time. So I'm going to get out of here, and yeah, I hope you guys all have a wonderful night, and I just appreciate you all so very much. Thank you for being a part of this community, this channel, and my life. Oh yeah, and if you don't drop a like, I'm going to give you hole in the head. Bye, guys.